Hey guys, so I've gotten a few messages lately asking why it looks like I'm constantly traveling for all these wildfire videos I've been putting out, especially from the folks that are like, hey, wait a second, from things that you've said or things I've seen in the background, like they basically could have sworn that I was in law enforcement. And I am. That is true. That is my full-time career. It's just that during the peak wildfire season, like the months of August and September, I get to fulfill a very specialized role, and that role is as a wildfire rope rescue paramedic, aka REMS, or Rapid Extraction Module Support Team Leader. And this is not a very well-known thing, so I figured just to help clear some things up, put some explanations out there, I figured it's time to break it down and share exactly what I do when you see me out here in the field, what my role is, and how I operate when I'm working in this capacity. So kicking this off from the very start, in order to be a REMS paramedic, you've got to be certified in a few key areas because, as you can imagine, this isn't your average medic gig. You need to be state licensed as a paramedic in whatever state you are getting sent to. And ideally, what you really want to have is your National Registry certification. We also all have to be qualified as wildland firefighter type 2s, and that means that you've completed multiple wildfire modules that go along with all of that, and it's usually a combination of S-130, S-190, and L-180. And every year you also have to pass the arduous work capacity test. There's also the specialties you've got to be trained in, things like wilderness medicine, because, obviously out here, we are about as wilderness as the continental United States can offer, which makes it such a cool environment to work in. Then in addition to all that comes the technical rescue certifications. And this is where we kind of get into the meat of this, because you've got to understand your urban and suburban areas, they have well-established infrastructure, well-equipped fire departments, EMS units, rescue units. They're all just minutes away. When I was with the FDNY, we had 5 heavy rescue trucks across the city, each staffed with 6 highly trained firefighters. Add in the SOC support units scattered throughout the boroughs, and you're looking at 15 to 20 rescue specialists on the scene within minutes. That's a system that's built for rapid response. Out here, that infrastructure just doesn't exist. You go from a sleepy population of, 5 people to 2,000 people overnight. Firefighters, pilots, medics, logistics, administrative people, shower units, catering companies, everything that is needed basically to create a small town or city and make it work. Working in steep terrain, zero visibility, and conditions that border on paralysis. There's really no street signs anywhere. There's no GPS reliability. No one's from here. And the roads, they're literally barely roads. So what happens when a helicopter goes down? When a firefighting crew drives off a cliff in the dark or the smoke? Or when someone falls 200 feet into a canyon and there's no cell service, no access, and no backup? This is where REMS comes into play. The Rapid Extrication Module Support Teams are the lifeline, kind of like the last resort. They're the ones who UTV or hike or get flown in, stabilize, and then extract. It's a 4-person crew that make up REMS, and we're all wilderness paramedics, rope rescue technicians, vehicle and machinery rescue, and swiftwater rescue technicians. And these teams are designed to do extrications off of cliff faces and then deal with a long duration patient care in what could potentially be the worst possible imaginable conditions. So needless to say, it's a very cool team to be a part of. And once you get some time and experience, you get to run one of the teams, which is one of the coolest things that I've done, because this isn't just about, patching someone up. It's about stabilizing, packaging, and hauling them out of steep terrain under fire conditions with extremely limited resources. So needless to say, our gear list isn't just a med kit and a stretcher. It's a mobile rescue system that's built for chaos. Steep terrain, zero visibility, long duration care, and no backup. We are it as far as what we have available to us when we're out in the remote wilderness like this. Everyone always likes to know about the UTV. This is our Polaris Ranger Trail Boss. 1,000 cc's, 82 horsepower, have a Warn winch right on the front, the Stokes wheel mounted to the hood. We'll get into more on that later. Inside the cab, you can see we got our BKR 5000 radios. Each person on the crew has a radio assigned to them. Got our helmets there. This has a fold-out or a flip-out windshield. The cab's fully enclosed, and in here we're just keeping the majority of our personal gear to kind of sustain us while we're out here. Moving around the front, you got to have a hand tool, 4 Pulaskis, so each person on the crew has one. Going up a little bit, big spare tire. Of course, there's our Starlink for our satellite comms. That is critical. In the rolled up tube there, that's our sked. This is the main medic bag. This comes off. This has all the med gear assigned to this. Right behind that, this is our rigging pack. All of your hardware for all of your systems is in here, the press pulleys, etc. The bag is right behind that. These will be the next 2 crews coming down. Obviously, all this stuff is stored into our Stokes basket. But getting back, medic bag, rigging bag, and then we have the harness kit for when we put a patient into the Stokes. The harness kit is right there. And then these final 2 bags each have a harness, 200 feet of rope, as well as some rigging equipment, and it's our rappel down to the patient and initial rope system gear. Beyond that, this is our bridle system. Again, if we need to do a vertical hoist or a horizontal hoist with the Stokes. Now, the way we like to operate before a rope gets rigged, before the extraction plan is even finalized as far as our rope systems, the first thing we like to do is get a medic to rappel down, drop his pack, get his hands on the patient, because if the patient isn't stabilized, nothing else matters. Inside that pack that he's rappelling down with, it's not just gear. We look at it as time. That's bought in minutes and potentially going to be carried for miles. And due to the threat assessment that we do in these environments in which we're working in, we're most likely going to be following the Marsh algorithm to guide our treatment modalities. So tourniquets, wound packing, and pressure dressings are definitely in our med bag, as well as needle decompression kits, crate kits if a surgical airway needs to be gained. But on top of all that, because of the makeup of our team, we're also carrying the advanced gear as well. So if we have a really compromised airway, we're carrying our intubation kit, as well as supraglottic options, and all of the support gear that goes along to allow us to not only initiate those procedures, but also maintain them potentially for a long time. Little things like a BVM is also in there. To support circulation, we have the gear to initiate IV and IO access, pressure bags, fluids, and TXA. That way we can not just stop the bleed, but also hopefully keep the clock from running out. Now, because we are an advanced life support unit, another huge and possibly the biggest advantage we bring with us, especially in this environment, is the capability to help with pain management. Ketamine, fentanyl, Versed, and oral options are also all in our medical bags with standing orders on the dosages, because extraction over jagged rock isn't just physical for the patient, it's also a psychological event. So that's really important that we deal with all that. We also keep a SAM splint, burn kits, and hypothermia devices either in a bag or on the UTV as well, in addition to our cardiac monitor, slash defibrillator. And while it's not my first choice due to its size, but in case there's anyone curious, we're using a LifePak 15 on this unit. So once the patient's stabilized, then our real challenge begins, getting them out of wherever they're kind of stuck at. That's why they called us. And this terrain is steep, unstable, usually it's smoke choked, and we can't really just call for a gurney. Our normal is building the extraction system from scratch. 200 to 300 feet of static current manual rated, rope for rescue loads, enough to reach the bottom of a ravine or rig a high angle haul. Mechanical advantage systems are also huge. Pre-built 4-to-1s or 5-to-1s setups, using pulleys and progress capture devices, carabiners, anchors, aluminum and steel, locking and non-locking carabiners, all of which we kind of have color-coded just to help speed the processes along. As far as our litter systems go, we have a Stokes basket. It's one of my personal choices to use because it's lightweight, it's basically bomb-proof, it's rigid, which I love. It's also, it's rigid enough for vertical lifts or even helicopter hoist. And with that is where that wheel that you saw mounted on the front of the UTV comes into play. It's just a single rugged wheel mounted mid-frame on the Stokes for rolling evacuations over uneven ground. It basically turns a 4-person carry into a 2-person push. It's got harness points and tie-ins for vertical, horizontal, and diagonal orientations, because we never know what we're going to face, and because the terrain doesn't care about our preferred angle on how we want to get somebody out. In keeping with the patient packaging gear, we also have that sked stretcher, and this device, unlike the rigid Stokes basket, is flexible, rollable, and really perfect for any sort of confined spaces or drag out situations that we would find ourselves in. And this can also be hoisted or carried or sledded across the ground, depending if your ground is clear enough to allow that to happen. As far as navigation and comms go, GPS units are a must. Everyone is running some sort of rugged handheld or watch, or worst case scenario, has it integrated with their, some sort of mobile phone app, usually like a Venza. For our radios, we're using the BKR 5000s, and these are programmed with the VHF, with the Fireline frequencies. But in addition to that, we're either carrying a separate radio or having an additional frequency programmed into those BKR 5000s for REMS crew only comms. So we can keep things private. We can just kind of coordinate on first name basis and just kind of talk normally if we're trying to do an operation. Satellite communicator, obviously, you saw that we had a Starlink set up in the back, going all the time. And with all of this stacked on top of that is the maps and terrain data we both get from printed topo maps, digital overlays with the Fireline, and they're pretty much updated every day, and every morning we just update the latest from the ICP. And in addition to all of the rope rescue gear and medical gear, either that's carried on us or in our packs, there's also the additional personal items that we like to keep on us for survival and support needs. Most importantly, being our fire shelters. That's obviously in case something catastrophic happens. But then beyond that, we usually have some sort of headlamp that has to kind of double as a strobe, as well as enough water and food to last a good 12 to 24 hours of sustained operations. The one thing that is really cool is that obviously our work platform is small. It's that UTV, and we need to keep our mobility capability as well. So every ounce of gear is intentional. REMS teams train to move fast, stabilize patients, and then extract them through terrain that would stop a lot of responders cold. So I just wanted to give you guys some clarification and a little bit of insight into all of this. I hope you like this. It's not, wasn't really truly radio related, but in all seriousness, I can't thank you guys enough for all the support of the channel. Any questions or comments that you have, feel free to drop them in the comments section. Just wanted to give you guys a little behind the scenes look at what I'm doing. I'm out here. And with that, we'll see you on the next one. Be safe.